Hello and welcome into this edition of Inside the Inferno. We are the Ashes Squared. I'm Ashlyn Register alongside Ashley Engle. How are you today?
I am honestly thrilled and excited to be here. This is my anchor debut at Inferno Intel, so I'm excited to see what the show has in store for us too.
I was so excited to be able to anchor with you as well. We have women's basketball and men's basketball, baseball, softball, and more all on this week's show.
ASU women's basketball did not have the season that they hoped for, but they have a chance tomorrow to show fans what they are capable of. Inferno women's basketball reporter Nicholas Hodell has more.
Arizona State has not had the kind of basketball success it would have hoped to have. However, there is still one bracket worth paying attention to for Sun Devil fans, and it comes in the WNIT. ASU accepted a bid into the WNIT after an 11-10 season and a 6-9 record in Pac-12 play, only enough for a 9th place finish in the conference. Arizona State did not have to wait too long on Friday to get the WNIT started as the Sun Devils played Rice to begin the Fort Worth region. Unfortunately for the Sun Devils, any resemblance of good shooting decided to sleep in until it was too late in a 48-36 loss. ASU shot less than 25% from the field in a game where no Sun Devil scored more than 10 points. Mackie Besselink led the team with 9 points and 7 rebounds. There is some good news though, as the season is not over just yet for the Sun Devils, though ASU will enter a consolation bracket and they'll play Missouri on Saturday.
ASU men's basketball ended its season with a loss to Oregon in the second round of the Pac-12 tournament. Now the Sun Devils will have to deal with a big roster turnaround before next season. Let's bring Inferno Intel men's basketball reporter Adam Noel to talk about who ASU will have to replace on its roster. Adam, how are you?
Good, Ashlyn. Excited to be here to talk some ASU men's hoops. Although the team couldn't make it to March Madness, still a lot of storylines to discuss.
Well, let's get things started. ASU just had a pair of players enter the transfer portal. Can you shed some lights on that situation?
Yes, Ashlyn, just like you said, 2 players just entered the transfer portal for ASU. It all started with junior forward Tayshawn Cherry. He was the first to announce that he was going to be leaving the Sun Devils, and then within just days of the season ending, it was actually announced that sophomore guard Jalen House would be leaving, and that was a big surprise because a lot of fans and teammates alike, they all thought Jalen was going to be a huge part of this team next season, and I think it was a really big shock to a lot of people because of the role that he took on this year. He was almost like a young Remy Martin. He brought that spark off the bench. He was amazing on defense. He had a lot of great stretches on offense, really improved his second year as a shooter, and it looked like he was going to enter the starting lineup, but really tough for Bobby Hurley to replace. Not an unexpected move by him, and the loss of Cherry, although he didn't play a lot of games this season, he was a key contributor in years past and someone that was a former high recruit and someone that could have had a bigger role for the Sun Devils next season. Both will be big absences for ASU next season.
With both of those leaving, the Sun Devils also have 3 key seniors leaving with Remy Martin headlining the group. What will ASU need to replace with them leaving?
Well, from the senior group, I think it just has to be scoring. Right out the gate, the top 2 scorers of the Sun Devil team are Remy Martin and Alonzo Verge Jr., both of whom will not be returning next season. And obviously with Remy Martin, that's the heart and soul of the Sun Devil team, and that's going to be a big thing that they need to replace. His leadership, those big shoes that he's filled in these last 2 seasons, those have been big moments time and time again where he's hit the shot that ASU needed to either win the game or get back in the game. And him leaving is going to be a big time hole on this ASU offense. And then alongside both Martin and Verge, we also have Kamani Lawrence, who had a short kind of impact in the last couple of seasons for ASU, but really this season was his turnaround. It was the best storyline of the season for the Sun Devils. He was someone who ended up evolving into what ASU really needed down the stretch, and he's a big reason why they were competitive, especially when the team started struggling with so many injuries, COVID-related issues. Kamani Lawrence, he ended up being a go-to guy and someone that the Sun Devils will miss dearly next season.
With that, ASU also has a pair of freshmen who plan on entering the NBA draft. What can you tell us about this duo?
Man, to say the least, it's a big blow to Bobby Hurley and his coaching staff. Josh Christopher, biggest recruit for ASU in years, and obviously he was supposed to be the guy that was going to complement Remy Martin in the backcourt this season. He was someone that was going to be the next big name, and he even got permission from James Harden to wear his jersey number this season, but really didn't have the impact that a lot of people expected him to. He had a back injury that he suffered against Oregon, didn't end up playing the rest of the season, missed the Pac-12 tournament, and in the same case, Marcus Bagley also suffered a lot of injuries, dealing with some ankle issues that kept him out of the Pac-12 tournament, and both of them are names that are going to go to the NBA draft, and it looks like they're going to get drafted at least first round. Christopher, his projected range is in the top 10 to 15 range. Bagley maybe a little bit lower, but I think once NBA scouts get a hold of Bagley and see his body and his game, I think his stock's going to rise, and that's really going to cause him to leave ASU. And although those guys could come back and would be huge for ASU, I think they're headed to the pros just because their talent is so high and they're ready to make that jump to the next level.
Adam, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Ashlyn. Appreciate it.
You can check out all his work at infernointel.com. Now let's send things to Olivia Eisenhauer for an update on Sun Devil baseball.
Well, the Sun Devils fell at home to UNLV on Tuesday 10-9, and there were a couple issues in the ninth inning that could become lingering problems for the baseball team moving forward. Minor errors and bullpen troubles, which the Sun Devils went through 8 pitchers in that one game. Thanks to the bad luck that has struck the 3 starting pitchers at the beginning of the season, and the only starting pitcher left is Tyler Thornton due to Cooper Benson undergoing Tommy John surgery Tuesday, and it was also announced after the game to the press by head coach Tracy Smith, Eric Tolman would undergo season-ending Tommy John as well. As for Benson, his surgery appeared to go well, and he is ready to get recovering after posting this Tuesday night caption, quote, "The journey starts now. Big shout out to everyone in my corner. Can't wait to be back on the mound. Hashtag Tommy John, hashtag new bow." Of course, we wish him the best and in his recovery, and the same with Tolman moving forward. As for the rest of the team, they hit the road for the first time of the season to open Pac-12 play at Oregon this weekend, where they look to turn things around before heading back to Phoenix Municipal against Washington State for a series and taking on UNLV again March 30th in Vegas. For your latest update on the now 11-3 ASU baseball team, I'm Olivia Eisenhauer.
Thanks, Olivia. When you think of game changers, what do you think of? You probably don't think of golfers when you do, because that's exactly what the ASU women's golf team was this past weekend at the Clover Cup at Longbow Golf Club in Mesa. The Sun Devils were behind on the first day of the match, being in 4th place scoring even par. The second day, things were looking up for the Sun Devils as they moved up the leaderboard, standing at 2nd place behind the leader, University of Arizona. The third day was a Wildcat versus Sun Devil showdown as both teams were ready to put on a show. But the Sun Devils attracted the crowd a lot more than the Wildcats did. Sophomore Lynn Grant, 2nd-ranked national amateur, won her 4th consecutive tournament individually, scoring 69s all 3 days of the tournament. Olivia Mahaffey decided she wanted to break the school record on the last day of the tournament, shooting a rockin' score of 62. That's 10 under par, folks. 10 under. The lowest score ever recorded in Sun Devil women's golf history. Lastly, the Sun Devils drifted past the Wildcats and won the Clover Cup with the final score of 11 under par. Now, if you don't think that's a game changer, then I don't know what you think is, because the Sun Devils do not play around when it comes to a comeback like that. Now, let's check in on another exciting ASU team.
Thanks, Ashley. Now we welcome in softball reporter Ryan Blank, who joins us through Zoom. Ryan, how are you?
Thanks, guys. Arizona State softball has continued their blazing hot start to the 2021 season, currently sitting at 17-2. The Sun Devils offense has proven to be one of the best in the nation, currently sitting at 4th in batting average, 4th in runs scored, and 3rd in home runs. Of course, the offense is being led by star catcher Maddie Hackbarth. Hackbarth leads the Pac-12 in RBIs with 34 and home runs with 12. Additionally, sophomore Jasmine Hill has beat out her 2020 season totals with 7 home runs and 25 RBIs. In the circle, sophomore Lindsay Lopez has been dominant. She is tied for the team lead with 6 wins and 2 shutouts, but leads the team with a 1.65 ERA and 4 complete games. Trisha Ford's squad is back in action this weekend as they hit the road for a 4-game set against the 2nd-ranked UCLA Bruins. That's all for me. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Ryan. Now I'm joined by Keith Dottley for this week's Spring Sports Headlines. Keith, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and speaking of doing great, I know we were going to talk about spring sports, but ASU football just started spring practice, and to kick it off, they showed their early enrollees rocking those icy white unis that look oh so clean. So ASU has a very balanced recruiting class that's rated 53rd in the country, according to 247 Sports, and they brought in some really great players, such as LSU transfer defensive end Trevez Moore, UNC offensive tackle Tristan Miller, and four-star athlete Tommy Hill from Orlando, Florida. And we can't wait to see what these Sun Devils do on the field.
Yeah, that's such a talented recruiting class that Hearn brought in. But what else do we have for this week's headlines?
All right, also we have ASU soccer. Nicole Douglas with the game-winning strike in the 95th minute to give ASU the win over Oregon State. The Sun Devils are now undefeated with 6 wins and 2 ties, despite being doubted preseason, and they're now number 16 in the country for women's soccer.
Yeah, Douglas doing that game-winning point, that shows that the Sun Devils are here to win and they're here for an undefeated season. I bet they can do that.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but they're definitely on their way. So now we have Aubrey Major with the monster bat flip you see there. Just flips it up and takes that bat for a ride, just like that ball went for a ride that he crushed into the stands. And he's 6'6". He's a beast. And ASU 11-3 going into Pac-12 play against Oregon in their conference opening series this weekend.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thanks, Keith, so much for being here. Now let's send it to Conor McGill with more on another exciting ASU accomplishment.
The 2021 NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships took place last weekend in Arkansas, with one ASU Sun Devil coming out on top. ASU shot punter Turner Washington joins us now in studio about his winning performance last week. Turner, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
At the NCAA Indoor Championship, your best came in the 5th round at 70 feet 1. What was going through your head at the time following your foul in round 3 and performance in round 4? Did you think that was something you could accomplish?
I was really going in that 5th round. I was really fed up with myself because I knew what technical aspects I had to hit, and I just wasn't doing them. I don't know if it was nerves or whatever, and I really just didn't want to be able to, if potentially win the meet with 68 feet. That was something I did not want to happen, and I really wanted to throw over 70. So then I really just focused on one technical thing, didn't care about much anything else, and I hit that one aspect and the ball went far. It wasn't the greatest finish, and then it was a learning lesson of where I saw how far that went, and I'm like, okay, if I do this same throw with a better push through the ball better, I'll throw 22 meters over 71. So now it's like using that to going into outdoor where we really know what it is I have to do to reach that next high end of the elite level of throwing.
You're one of a few that has accomplished throwing 70 feet in NCAA Indoor Championship history. What is it like to be a part of this elite group and being next to guys like former Sun Devil Ryan Whitney by your name?
Oh, it feels awesome knowing my name's next to legends of the sport that hopefully if I can keep doing what I'm doing and following in their footsteps, that someday I'll also be considered a legend and have kids looking up to me and wanting to throw like me. Because that's I think that's really what it's all about, is wanting to be a motivation to other people as well.
Your journey from high school to now seems to have been quite a story. If you could say anything to your younger self, what would you say?
Oh, there's a lot of stuff I would say, but most importantly, just be patient and trust the process. That it's a road with a lot of potholes, cops on the highway. It's not an easy journey, but if you just stick with it, you'll be able to reap the rewards one day.
Well, thank you so much, Turner, for joining us in studio, and we'll hope to have you back on soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
That will do it for today's episode of Inside the Inferno. You can find all our content and coverage at infernointel.com and at infernointel on Twitter.
On behalf of Ashlyn and myself, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time, right here, same time, same place.